Hello and welcome to my third YouTube video. This is not as well organised, and the reason for that is that the topic is about recovering or getting through a depressive episode. So that means that I'm actually in one, and therefore my ability to get this together, work out any kind of strategy for what I was going to say has been vastly reduced. So I know that I did film an introduction to this when I decided that that would be the topic that I would play. So I will insert that here. Good morning, it's Monday morning. So I had a bit of a meltdown on Instagram last night. Had a tough day with just lots of emotions everywhere. And I got quite down. And then this morning I was struggling to get up again, and basically I've sort of put two and two together, and I've been struggling to get up in the mornings for a few weeks now, struggling to motivate myself, just feeling down. Hello, sorry, that was a call. You can see all my rubbish behind me now, all the books and everything, because I still haven't finished doing the office yet. Anyway, I've realised that I have actually slid into a depressive episode. I think there's a few reasons for that. One, the seasons have changed. I always find that a little bit difficult as it gets darker. Also, obviously, the 10 days where I was stuck in with Edith, I found really difficult. I don't cope well with schedule change. So the fact that I had to change my schedule to be locked in the house for 10 days and then I had to change it again to being back outside, which even though it was something I was looking forward to, I still found quite difficult. So a bit too much schedule change there, but I think I was on the decline already, to be honest. It's been quite stressful at work. Just lots of things really add up towards it. Now, my tolerance for depression is a lot lower these days. What do I mean by that? Well, back in the day, before I was being treated properly, I would get really depressed before I'd realised I was depressed. I'm talking like, not great with my personal hygiene, struggling to leave the house, massive anxiety attacks, a bit of self-harm, to be honest. And then and I'd be fully in having suicidal thoughts, and I would be really unwell before I sort of realised there was a problem. Whereas because I'm quite experienced with my mental health now, I notice on a much higher point of the slide. So obviously sliding into depression is like that. And whereas before I wouldn't notice until I was down here, now I notice quite early on. Some of the other signs are, my screen time's been increasing. Screen time, struggling to get up in the mornings, coupled with big waves of these sort of big sad feelings, I'm going to be alone forever. That's quite a common one I go through. Or I'm really rubbish at my job, I can't do my job. That's another theme that I go through quite a lot. So overall, I have come to the realisation that I am depressed. Yay. And so now I need to lift myself out of it, but lift myself out of it in a healthy way and not in a way that triggers a hypomania phase. So I think I'm going to talk you through that this week, how I lift myself out of this, which wasn't what I planned to do this week. I was going to do like a gym session episode, but this might be more helpful. So anyway, project turn that frown upside down. Oh, I'm such a twat. Just cooking dinner and just waiting for the lonely off again, because most of the time I'm fine with being on my own, but sometimes I'm afraid that I'm always going to be on my own, and that's not what I planned for life, but it's fine, and this will pass, and I will be okay. Okay, so that's what I've done. It's been 2 weeks instead of the one, because I wasn't in a good place last weekend with everything to try and put this together. I realised I hadn't filmed very much, so I thought I'll carry on for another week. I also wanted to write down in some kind of organised way my sort of tips that I was going to talk you through, so that this would be a little bit more structured. So I have done that. You'll notice I'm quite shiny because I've actually just got back from doing my rest day cardio. So I realised I had two choices. One, I could do the video like this, or two, I could go have a shower and then do this without any makeup on, wet hair and all of that. And I decided that as you can't smell me, this is actually preferable. Okay, so tip number one has got to be kindness. What do I mean by that? Well, normally, or in the past when I've ended up in depressive episodes, I've got quite cross with myself about it. It's funny, I know I have bipolar, and yet I get cross with myself when I exhibit the symptoms of bipolar. This time I decided, you know what, that's ridiculous. I've sort of let go of the hope that I won't get depressed. I know I will get depressed sometimes. So when this depressive episode came along, I dealt with it a bit differently, and I said, oh, right, okay, hello, I'm depressed. That's why I'm struggling to get up in the mornings. That's why my productivity is a bit low. That's why, you know, I cried randomly that week, you know, last weekend, the weekend before. It's why I've been beating myself up about things. And you know what, that's okay. I'm depressed. So what I need to do is to treat myself with kindness, and come at all of these strategies with a view of supporting myself rather than punishing myself. So rather from a, you know, come on Megan, you need to be more productive, you absolute idiot, it's been, you know, oh, okay, I'm depressed, I need to be kind to myself and support myself to be able to get through this. And that actually, I think, has been the single biggest thing for me this time, talking to myself with kindness instead of in a harsh way. Okay, my second tip is about eating frogs, which is something that I talk about quite a lot on Instagram. So if you're not aware of what eating a frog is, it's a saying by Mark Twain, the author, which is that if your job is to eat a frog, you should do it first thing, so that the rest of your day can't be as bad. You know, you've done the worst thing to eat this frog in the morning. It's a time management technique. So what are frogs? Well, they're usually tasks that by themselves aren't that bad, but you might have left them for ages, so they've become really urgent, or you feel really bad because you haven't replied to that email or whatever. And so basically over time they become horrible warty frogs. And a task that might actually only take 5 to 10 minutes becomes a really big deal in your head. So the first thing that I did when I realised I was in this depressive episode, after I decided to treat myself with kindness, was from a work perspective, I started eating frogs. and the things that were really stressing me out, I just dealt with. The other thing was I started to write a list, because the thing with frogs is that they quite often compete against each other in your mind, and your mind might jump from one thing to another. Oh, I need to do this, but I haven't done that yet. And oh God, what about that? And you can't get any of them done because you're just so stressed about choosing which one to do. So my first thing was to make sure I knew what I had to do. So that meant I went through my emails, I wrote a to-do list, I updated my control sheets and things to make sure I knew what I had to do. And I reduced my email inbox over a couple of days from about 500 to below 20. So that was a big achievement for me. So yeah, the third thing is to stop frogs forming. So what I mean by that is, when I'm depressed, I don't have the headspace to think, oh yeah, no, I need to do that, I'll do it later. So the moment that thing comes into my head and I go, oh no, I haven't replied to that email, or I haven't done that. The moment anything makes me go, I just deal with it straight away. So an email comes in, I'm like, oh God, yeah, no, I should have replied to her the other day. Just dealt with it. If I couldn't just deal with it in that moment because I was already dealing with another one, I wrote it down and in red pen to do next. So, you know, nothing was going to become a frog because nothing was around long enough to grow those horrible warts and become a nasty thing. Okay, the fourth thing I did was let go of mornings. I like to get up at a reasonable time in the morning. I don't like running around. But I am not a morning person, so that's quite difficult for me. When I'm depressed, that is impossible for me. When I'm depressed, I can't get up. And I think unless you've been depressed, that's quite a hard thing to understand. Because if you're lying there and you're awake, how could you possibly not be able to get out of bed? I don't know, but I can't. And I will lie there and I will say, Megan, you need to get up. Megan, you're a loser. You need to get up. And my entire being will just go, no. And that can go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It can go on for a long time. And I know that that is not just me. I know a lot of people that struggle with their mental health have the same thing. So what I've done is I've let go of it. I don't say to myself, you promised yourself you get up at 6 o'clock. I don't do that. I'm just like, yeah, getting up is hard at the moment, isn't it? And as a result, I'm not getting up as late as I would be if I was putting pressure on myself to get up. If I was putting a really early alarm, I would sleep through it at the moment because my body does not want to be getting up early, so I put my alarm back. Instead of shouting at myself in the mornings that I should be getting up and that I'm a lazy whatever, I'm not doing that. Just going, yep, it's hard to get up at the moment, isn't it? And as a result, I'm getting up earlier than I would be otherwise. Am I getting up early? No. Are the mornings still quite stressful and involving a lot of running around? Yes. But I'm not being horrible to myself about it. And I know that as my mood improves as a result of all the other things that I'm doing, I will actually be able to do mornings. And I'm thinking that at this point in time, I'm going to start doing mornings from Monday. Hi. So I have been really struggling to make myself shower today. Yeah, getting out of bed and taking showers are... Okay, number 5 is that my goal for each day is to just tick off the basics that I have to do and survive till the end of the day. So nothing major, just my steps, my meals. If I have a gym session, do that. If I'm at work, do that. Just treat everything as a box to be ticked. don't put any pressure on myself to be amazing at anything. Don't try and, assign a moral value to any of it. It's just literally steps, food, hydration, pick the child up from school, do the work that I need to do, make sure the hours I need to do are on my timesheet, done. And that methodical roboticness removes any, your steps were done later than they should have been. Well, so what? Were they done? Yes, they were done. You were right on the last minute to pick Edith up from school. Was she picked up from school? Yes. No moral judgment, just getting through and surviving each day by just methodically, robotically doing the steps. Number 6 is to properly notice improvements, notice good things you're doing, and praise yourself. So, when I started realising that I was dealing with this depressive episode a lot better than previous ones, I've been really praising myself for that, both internally and also publicly on my Instagram, which probably seems a little bit weird to some people, but it's actually a really big, important part of me not falling back into beating myself up, that I praise myself for these improvements. For example, I was at an event on Thursday, and where I quite often beat myself up for not being the most disciplined bodybuilder in the world because of the things that I struggle with, I was talking to a lawyer who was asking about like my food regime and everything. I was explaining I eat 6 times a day, I have a macro plan that I follow, I train 5 times a week, I have a number of steps that I have to do and things like that. And he said, wow, you're really disciplined. And I realised, yeah, you know what? I'm really disciplined. And I think I spend a lot of my time comparing myself to IFBB pros in terms of adherence and discipline. Like, that's ridiculous, right? These people, this is their entire life. They've been doing it years. They're brilliant at it. They are the best of the best. I'm a nearly 33-year-old single mother accountant who's just started doing this. Compared to the general population, I am disciplined. So you know what? I'm giving myself a clap on the back for that. So that's a big tip for me, for you. If you notice that you've done something well when you're in a depressive episode, it's even more important than any other time to be like, you know what? I'm doing really well at that. That's really good. Because again, it helps just feel better about yourself and give you like an armour against those voices in the back of your head telling you that you're useless or rubbish or not worthwhile. Number 7 is social connection. So when you're depressed, you just want to hide in bed, you want to hide away from everybody. And although I do need lots of alone time when I'm in this state, it's actually really important that I do reach out and I do get some good quality social connection. I'm not talking about going to a party or socialising with a load of people you don't know, or anything, overly extrovert or anything like that. I mean having meaningful social connection with the people that matter to you. So I'm having, making sure I have time with Edith where I'm fully present. She invented a game, so I took 10 minutes out of, I was working, I took 10 minutes out to play the game that she'd invented and make sure I was fully present with her. We still have our regular watching the Bake Off together, doing our homework together, things like that. So being really present with her. I also had more phone calls with family members this week than normal, making sure that I was expressing how I was feeling and feeling connected to the people that I love and the people that love me. Okay, number 8 is I always like to have something to look forward to and to make some plans. So it makes me feel more like this current state of feeling is temporary. So if I've last week I booked to go and see my sister for the weekend just after my birthday. So I'm going to London, going to Winter Wonderland. So it's just really good for me to have something to look forward to in the sort of medium term. I'd already got quite a few things to look forward to just after with Christmas and just after Christmas, and I've got a tattoo book for January and things. But it was just nice to book something. So in the quite short to medium term, I've got something to look forward to. And I can remember, you know what, this state of feeling is temporary. My mood will lift. Things will recover back to normal. Whatever normal is when you have a mental health condition. But yeah, this too shall pass. So the 9th tip is one that actually I was discussing with my friend Gillian today, which is to keep moving. When I'm depressed or anxious, I find it really easy to be paralysed. And I think one of the clips that I filmed during the week was about this. So hopefully I'll be playing that in a second, but it's where, like, if you chunk your time up, and if you find yourself stopping and getting into that, oh god, I don't know what to do next, mode, just do something. Yeah, go and put a load of laundry on. That was what Gillian was saying, or, you know, empty the dishwasher, or just do something. And then that can break you out of that paralysed, oh, I don't know what to do, just do something. Sometimes you don't have the headspace for prioritising tasks. Sometimes that's just not possible, and you just need to start building some momentum that you can then carry on and get stuff done. And number 10, actually there isn't a 10th one, which I'm very disappointed in myself for, because that it feels like there should be a 10th tip. And I'm sure that there would be, if I could think about it. But as I said at the start of this video, this was quite last minute. I didn't plan it properly, and I am now starving, sweaty and smelly, so I'm gonna go eat and have a shower. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hopefully there will be another one next week, but it will depend whether or not I manage to continue to lift my mood and how things go. Thank you.